Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In the course of this video lesson, I'll be solving different practice questions that cut across the subject biology. Now let's get into the first practice question, and it says, the part of the cell responsible for respiration. This is what we have to watch out for. The part of the cell that is responsible for the process respiration is the... Now, option A says nucleus. Option B says nucleus. Option C says mitochondria, whereby option D says Golgi bodies. Remember, Golgi bodies are also regarded to be called Golgi apparatus. Do you understand? So before we answer this question together, let us analyze each of the options. Now, if you check here, this is nucleus. Now remember, the nucleus of a cell does not have any business to do with respiration. Yes, the nucleus of a cell is simply regarded to be the control center of that cell, meaning that it is extremely very important. The nucleus is extremely very important for cells. But remember, we have some, organisms without a well-developed nucleus. Those set of organisms, they are regarded to be called prokaryotic organisms. Are you getting me now? But just note that the nucleus is the control center of a cell that bears those genetic materials, be it DNA or RNA. DNA means deoxyribonucleic acid, whereby RNA means ribonucleic acid. Whereby for option B, called nucleus, it is a component of the nucleus. It is found inside the nucleus of a cell. It is spherical in shape. Do you understand? It is the dense part of the nucleus. Nucleus are actually found inside the nucleus. You can see it from the word nucleus. So you can see that nucleus cannot still be the answer. Both of them are related. So let's leave that and go over to option D. Now, option D is called Golgi bodies, which I earlier called Golgi apparatus. Now, this must be noted. The Golgi body, they are also regarded to be called the post office of a cell. This is how I describe them. The post office of a cell. What are their functions? They are involved in three important processes. What are those processes for the Golgi apparatus? They are, number one, modifying, number two, sorting, and number three, packaging of what? Two set of substances called proteins and lipids. Are you getting me now? They will first of all, modify these proteins and lipids inside the cell. After modifying them, they then move further to sort them out. Do you understand? After modifying them, like forming them, they then sort them out, separating the proteins from the lipids. Are you getting me now? Before they now then package these substances, be it proteins or lipid, and they are doing this for transport to their specific destination inside the cell. Are you getting me now? So that's the function about the Golgi bodies. Moving over to option C, which is called mitochondria. Mitochondria is regarded to be called the powerhouse of a cell. They are very important. They are involved in energy production. They are involved in cellular respiration. So you can see I've mentioned two things. One, energy production, and number two, cellular respiration. They produce energy, not just energy, they produce glucose and also oxygen by reacting. Listen, so you can see that I said that mitochondria produces what we call energy for the cell, and energy in a cell is in the form of what we call ATP. Listen carefully. This is why you have to know the equation for respiration. Respiration equation is simply carbon dioxide, which is CO2, reacting with water, which is H2O, which gives rise to glucose, which has the chemical formula to be C6H12O6 plus oxygen gas, which is O2 plus ATP. ATP here is written as this, and it is pronounced as adenosine triphosphate. This is the form to which energy in a cell is expressed. So, this is a reaction. The reaction is not balanced. We have to make sure we balance the reaction. This is not chemistry, this is biology, but any reaction written must be balanced, okay? So we have to balance this reaction, and to simply do this, we simply put 6 in the front of CO2. We simply put 6 in the front of H2O, okay? It's going to be balanced if we check it, and we're going to put 6 in the front of oxygen gas, and the ATP formed specifically is 38 ATP. Now, all of these written, there are reasons to them, but it must be noted here that the part of the cell responsible for respiration, specifically cellular respiration, is simply the mitochondria. Remember, I said that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, and also it helps for energy production. Do you understand? So moving further to question number 2, and it says, an organism with 2 nuclei is. Now, you can see they mention different organisms here. Option A, I saw amoeba. Option B, I saw Chlamydomonas. Option C, I saw Euglena. Option D, I saw Paramecium. Now, first of all, we have to just know the organism here with 2 nuclei is regarded to be called Paramecium. What are these nuclei that they are saying is 2? We have the macronucleus, okay, and also we have the micronucleus. These are the nucleus seen in this organism called Paramecium. Paramecium has a slipper shape, and Paramecium as an organism locomotes with the aid of an organelle called cilia. That is what Paramecium use for what? Movement. Now, for amoeba can also move as well. Amoeba moves with the aid of an organelle called pseudopodia, whereby for Chlamydomonas moves with the aid of an organelle called flagella. And as well as Euglena also moves with the aid of an organelle called what? Flagella. But now, it must be noted here that all of them, they are all under the kingdom of classification called kingdom Protista. Are you following me now? And from my previous video I made on introduction to biology, I actually explained on kingdom Protista, where I said that we have organisms under the Protista, under the kingdom Protista, that behaves like plants, and also we have organisms that behaves like animal. Those that behaves like plants, they are called protophyta. In biology, anytime a word ends with phyta, we know that it is a plant. And also we have others that behaves like animal, and those guys, they are called the protozoas or the protozoans. Are you following me now? Anything that ends with zoo, it means animal in biology. So we have to now know that Euglena as an organism, specifically Euglena viridis, for this is called Chlamydomonas rivalis. For this is called Paramecium caudatum, whereby for this is called Amoeba proteus. These are their scientific names I'm calling out. Are you following me now? So we have those that behaves like plant. We have also those that behaves like animal. For you to behave like a plant, that means you have what we call, because we have some specific, cell component that is restricted to plants, and number one of them is what we call chloroplast. Chloroplast is a cell organelle that is seen only in plant cells, because inside that chloroplast there is a pigment called the chlorophyll pigment. And what is the function of the chlorophyll pigment? It is for a process called photosynthesis, ability for a plant cell to be able to produce its own food, whereby for animal cells they don't have the chloroplast, so definitely they can't have the chlorophyll pigment for what? Photosynthesis. Like for amoeba is a protozoan. Amoeba is an animal like protist, whereby for Chlamydomonas it is a plant like protist, whereby for Paramecium it is also an animal like protist called a protozoan, whereby for Euglena viridis it has both features. Are you following me? It has both features. Why? Now you can see that for Euglena to be a plant, then it will have chloroplast. And also for Euglena to be an animal, then it can move, because animals can move, plant cannot. Do you understand? That is why euglena has the organelle called, flagella for locomotion. There are other reasons to which it is an animal. And also another reason why euglena is a plant, because it stores its starch like food in the form of what we call paramylum granules. Are you following me now? So this must be noted. So the answer to this question becomes option D. So let's get into the next practice question, which says the correct sequence of the structures from the ovary to the vagina is. Now, me looking at this question, my mind already know where this question is from. This question is coming from the topic in biology called the female reproductive system. So right now, we have to understand what we call the female reproductive system, the component of it, for we to be able to get the right sequence of arrangement of those organs in the female reproductive system from the ovaries to the vagina. Do you understand? So they're trying to, they brought out different sequence to which the female reproductive system is arranged. So we have to look at the one that is correct, and it is extremely very easy. Now watch. I'm about to help me question 1 and question 2 because I've answered this part. So we go over to explain question number 3, and it is extremely very easy. So in the female, me looking at this option, I can actually eliminate. It's actually easy because they told me that the correct sequence of structures from the ovaries to the vagina is what? So from the ovaries, option A, look at option A. From the ovaries to the vagina is what? So option A is likely to be the answer. Option C, from the ovaries to the vagina is what? Option C is likely to be the answer. Option B, from the ovaries to the fallopian funnel or the fallopian tube. Can this be the answer? This is already out because it is not following the initial sequence, which is ovary to vagina, which is the normal. Do you understand? So this is already out because it's going from ovaries to fallopian funnel or the fallopian tube. Are you following my point? So this is very, very, very important to note. So for we to be able to answer this question together, we have to draw the female reproductive system together, which is extremely very easy. I'm going to just do a sketch diagram here so we can actually use the diagram to actually answer this question together, and it is extremely very easy. Now this is how the female reproductive system is. Okay, like this is the overview of it, whereby we have, I don't want to start telling you the names yet, and this here like this. All right, so with this, let us label. So let us say this is the female reproductive system together. So the female reproductive system has various parts, and this is the female reproductive system, like a sketch diagram. So you can see this part of the female reproductive system. It is regarded to be called the ovaries. This is where the eggs are being stored. Do you understand? Before ovulation. Do you understand? I'm calling some terminologies now, but it's important for us to just know what I'm about to say because I'm not teaching the reproductive system right now. If I'm to teach it, I'm going to explain each of the terminologies here. So moving further, you can see I said that these are the ovaries. These are the eggs, okay, that are being stored here in preparation for what we call ovulation. Do you understand? And there are some structures that actually hold the eggs in place. Those structures, they are called the fimbrians, or the fimbrians. Are you following me now? So these are the structures that actually hold them in place, whereby when it's time for the ovaries to be released into this part of the female reproductive system, they will then help to push the ovaries via all of this tube, and it enters here. This particular part of the female reproductive system is called the fallopian tube, or we can as well call it fallopian or funnel. Are you following me now? It's like a tube now, whereby the ovaries pass and enters into this. Anything I'm doing here is still same here. Are you following me? So this part, this muscular organ here, this is a muscular organ, okay? It is called the uterus. This is called what? The uterus. This is where the ovaries now implant during pregnancy. What I mean by that is that this is where the ovary stays for what now? Growth during pregnancy. Are you following me now? So moving further, I've explained this. So this part of it, this opening, they call it the cervix. Do you understand? The cervix. The cervix separates the uterus from this part of the of the female reproductive system. This part is called the vagina. Are you getting me now? Whereby if you go down, you have what we call the vulva, which is made up of the external genitalia, which include the labia minora, the labia majora, and the vestibule. Are you following me now? That's the vulva after the vagina, which is the external genitalia of the female reproductive system. So you can see the labeling. So let us understand it together. Then I said that the correct sequence of the structure from the ovaries to the vagina, this is the ovaries, to the vagina is what? So look at the diagram. Ovary first, fallopian tube, uterus, cervix, vagina. Option A, ovary, fallopian tube or funnel, uterus, cervix and vagina. Is it option C? No. Option C is ovary, uterus. Can we just jump from ovary to uterus? No, we have to pass through the fallopian tube. So the answer to this question becomes option A. I believe it is clear. It is actually very easy. Now, if you find my video lessons helpful and you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, make sure you click on the subscribe button to my channel and also share my videos with your friends. So let us progress to the next practice question, and it says, which of the following pairs are product of sucrose hydrolysis? It's simple. It is simple. Sucrose is what? That would be the question we ask ourselves. What is sucrose? Sucrose is a disaccharide. What do I mean by that? What's a disaccharide? Because you know that carbohydrates can be divided into various groups. We have monosaccharides, those simple carbohydrates, like your glucose, like your fructose, like your galactose. These are the three major monosaccharides. Though there are others, there are so many, but these are the three major you must take note of. So now, those guys I mentioned, they are called monosaccharides. So where does sucrose belongs to? Because I did not mention sucrose, just like I said glucose, fructose and galactose. Sucrose is a disaccharide. For you to be di means that you'll be made up of like two sugars coming together. So which two sugars comes together to give rise to sucrose? That's the question they are asking us. This must be noted. The sugars that actually comes together to give rise to sucrose is simply glucose and fructose. Glucose and what? Fructose. We have other disaccharides like the likes of, you can see one of them, which is sucrose. Another is what we call lactose. This is coming from cane sugar. This is coming from milk sugar. This is, another one is called, what do you call this? Maltose. Maltose is gotten from malt sugar. Are you following me now? So the point I'm trying to make, that one is from cane sugar. So for sucrose to be formed, or for if we now split sucrose, because they say sucrose hydrolysis, meaning that water, lysis, splitting. So sucrose hydrolysis, using water to break sucrose. That's what sucrose hydrolysis is. If it was lactose hydrolysis, the same thing. So when you use water to break sucrose, what do we form? That's the question. We get glucose and fructose, because it's glucose and fructose that comes together to give rise to sucrose. For lactose, what comes together to give rise to lactose? If the question was lactose, the answer would have been option what do you call it now? A, B, C and D. So the answer would have been option C. Do you understand my point? For lactose to be formed, glucose and galactose should come together. For maltose to be formed, glucose and glucose should come together. Are you following me? It's actually very easy. So for the question 5, it says two organisms of different species living in close association but not dependent on each other is. Now this set of organisms, they are called the commensal organism, from the process commensalism. Commensalism, remember that it is a relation of organisms that are of different species. Like a good example of commensalism is shark and remora fish. Do you understand? Or we can also say cattle and cattle egrets. Do you understand? Like for the shark and remora fish, look at what happens here. Let's say shark is trying to, catch a prey, for instance. Remora fishes, they are very small. So when this shark successfully catches a prey, and the shark is now devouring the prey inside the water, this set of these remora fishes that are very small, they'll just go under the shark, and then the remnants coming from the shark mouth, they then now take those parts as their own food. Are you understand my point? So that's the relationship. So like they are of different species. Shark and remora fish, they are not of the same species before. So they are of different species, and both of them, they are not really dependent on each other, in the sense that the remora fish can also still survive via other means. Are you understand my point? Whereby the shark does not even need the remorar fish to survive. I don't know if you get my point. So that's how this question is. Okay, we have other types of relationship like symbiosis. Symbiosis can be either mutualism, whereby the set of organisms they gain from each other, mutual, or can be either parasitism, whereby one only gain and the other does not gain. We have other classification like saprophytism, whereby this set of organisms they feed on organisms that are already dead decay matter. Do you understand? So that is for that. So guys, we've come to the end of this video lesson. If you find my video lesson helpful, make sure you click on the subscribe button to my channel and also share this video with your friends. Thanks for watching.